Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We review anything and everything. And today we're getting into another Lego set. This is an Ninjago Dragon Rising set 71839, Arin Spinjitzu Battle Mech. He's actually one of the main characters in the, if I'm not mistaken, he's like the main character. Him and this other female are the main characters of this series, but I only recently got into watching it with my kids, so I'm just getting started off. Baby Ryu, which we would have reviewed the older version of already, and this right here is I guess takes place when he is still small, but he ends up getting older and grows up. Apparently this series has been going on for a little while now, and I'm kind of a little late to the party, not in terms of the Lego sets, of course, but in terms of the actual show. So yeah, taking a look at this on the back here, you can see you actually can mix and match some of the mechs that also come out during this time frame. And I actually have this one also that will later on get reviewed, but I'm not going to unbox this right now. I am going to do, after it finished getting built up from my son, then we're going to take a look and review it. I will have some clips in here on his thoughts and his build process. So stay tuned, you guys. Okay guys, we are back with the finished build, and we have here, this is an interesting set because we have this new, at least it's interesting from the perspective of, if you've seen the previous videos that I just reviewed, a few of these mech sets, it was all the wolf team, the wolf characters, as far as like the enemies. So here it's interesting in that it introduces a character. So we have Arin in it and baby Ryu, who later on grows up. So this must be a set earlier than the time that Ryu was big, because I did a review on a bigger version of Ryu. But this has the Spectral Dragoneer Warrior, which, is that part of the Wolf Clan thing as well? I don't think so. I think it's a separate thing. I'm gonna move this out of the way because the box is gonna fall. But so I'm not too sure. But the reason why also it's of interest to me is because now, ever since buying these, I've been watching the series with my sons, and it's just getting interesting getting through it. And I haven't seen where these things come into play, so it's interesting. But looking at the timeline though, the other wolf characters come with some of the sets where I think Ryu is older and they still have some of the wolf things. So I don't know what to expect with the series, but it's getting interesting. And so, yeah, seeing this is kind of interesting in this set of, you know, where we're coming from. Now, those who probably are deeper into collecting Ninjago, that's probably not even a big deal to them. Matter of fact, let me take this off. You can see that face there, and then you can see this back thing. It looks like some kind of evil spirit thing or something. But I'm not really too sure, nor have there been any mention in the series so far about the Spectral Dragoneer Warrior or anything of the Dragoneer Warriors, period. Now, another thing is I had reviewed a character, me just getting further along into the sets, I reviewed a character by the name of Drix in one of the previous sets, and I'm now learning that he wasn't just some regular enemy character. He's one of the Forbidden Five. Now that I got further along inside the series, and they're an ancient version, an ancient evil version of the Elemental Ninjas, the same ones that are the heroes. So that's been very interesting to kind of get that information and stuff like that moving forward. But here we will break down and get into the mech in a moment. This is Arin, and here he is. It looks like he's kind of in like training mode, because he no longer has his other outfit that he would normally have earlier in the series, but he doesn't yet have his mask on like the other set that I had reviewed, where he's riding the larger version of Ryu, and he has his ninja mask on. So this must be in between, especially since Ryu is smaller. No additional face printing, but that's because the way his hair is just wouldn't really allow it, which is fine. And now his mech actually is nice. It comes with 2 large weapons, which is pretty cool. Some mechs only come with 1. He has a holder for his spectral sword, which is another thing because I heard that these spectral swords are supposed to be somewhat rare, but I've seen a lot of them already. But maybe it's because a lot of these Dragon Rising sets, even though you can purchase them on Amazon, and links going to be in the description down below, a lot of them are really from different time frames since the series has, I think they're on season 3 and they've been running since like the sets have been coming out since for a while back now, maybe even 3 years, assuming that every season came out 1 year apart. So they've probably been just putting these in a lot of sets because that's just the part of the season or whatever that they were at when that was going on. But this definitely looks really cool. And one thing that's interesting with his thing is that you've got this side is different than this side here. I put these because these are extras. Normally I just wouldn't have that there at all, but a lot of the extra pieces I usually like to use them. Here's how they hold their weapons. When it comes to the mechs, you slot them in there, which is, I think, is a nice feature. This is one of his weapons here. And then he's got the hands, and I really like that this has the more spread out hands. So that's actually pretty cool because I've seen some figures where they're not the spread out type. They're just the regular, I don't know how to describe it, but there's a piece where you could attach these two, but instead of spreading outwards, they just go straight. So he's got the knee pads, the larger feet design. Oops. This only holds on from one of these clips rather than 2, so it's a little less secure in that regards, but normally you wouldn't be moving them much. He's also one who has one of those seats that is very wide, and I like that because I've seen some of the mechs, not the larger ones, but some of the smaller ones where you can't really fit a character in there as well or as comfortable, where this one has plenty of room. He not only has plenty of room, but you probably could get away with putting a figure in the back there to ride with him. I happen to have this Lloyd figure on hand, and I want to see that if that works. Kind of. It's not a lot of room, but you can kind of squeeze someone back there a little bit. But with the amount of room that he has, if you wanted to, you could actually move him forward. You just put his hands down, you can move him forward. Then you'd be able to squeeze somebody back there with him, which I think is pretty cool. We're gonna try that. Put his hands down. Put him on his back studs and see. So that's pretty cool, having that much room that you could have someone as a ride along. You could see something like that happening where if they're in an emergency and he's like jumping, you know, he's got room, and then now all of a sudden he's fighting a bunch of people. So that's really cool. And just overall, it's just a really good mech, and the price on this really wasn't bad either. I was mistaken on the price that I mentioned on Cole's one when I did that video review. That was at the time of recording $17. This one was $22. I got the prices mixed up, but it's still a good price for what you're getting here. You get this nice sword here as well, and it's cool because you can make the fingers wrap around the weapon, so it makes it feel like he's properly holding it. And I got the peg stuck in his arm, and I can't get that out right now, so I'm not even gonna try. This little wing design is actually really cool too. But one thing it makes me start wondering when I look at this mech is, because most of the characters' mechs are themed off of their elemental power. He quote unquote doesn't have an elemental power, at least in the part of the series where I'm at. I don't know if he later on gets one. So I don't know if his thing is themed off anything other than maybe just random gadgets, because one, he uses like gadgets like it's what is it again, like a grappling hook type of thing. But on top of that, I feel like him with Sora as his partner in the series kind of have that thing where they just take like random junk things and put things together. So I don't know if that's the vibe they're going with this, because it definitely is mismatched, like as if it was just put together with scraps, being that this arm is different than this arm. But I definitely think it's one of the cooler mechs. And I also want to show something by bringing in Cole's mech. It says on the box, let me take his hammer out of his hand, so it's because it's pretty heavy. And Cole's definitely got a more short, stocky looking one, and Arin's seems to be more tall and kind of more well-rounded in its size, but Cole's got these ginormous big hands. Now, these particular mechs, and I don't know if all of them work like this or not, they can be put together with each other. And actually Sora's got a mech that also could be put together, though I don't have that one present and I don't have the red one, but these two here you could see, so they're able to mix and match some of the pieces. So I just want to demonstrate that here with one of these arms. One thing I will say with Arin's mech that is a little bit of a negative is the fact that his chest plate doesn't seem to have anything that it hits to stop it once you push it forward. So you can kind of, it's not doing it now. There we go. It can go like further in, and that kind of like throws it off. You can see there, it's not like whatever. So not a big deal, but sometimes when you're putting it back, it's like that, where this one has a point in which it hits. So it goes where it has to in terms of alignment. But here, you can put this on him. Make sure I don't break anything when I press inwards, because trying not to put all that pressure. And I'm having a lot of trouble getting that in. Give me a second, you guys. Okay, so this right here, definitely I can tell you, is not kid friendly when it comes to swapping those arms, because these sets will probably just crumble in pieces putting all that pressure. But I was able to get it. And this is actually pretty cool, because this arm is so much more of like a defensive shield type of arm with all those big gauntlets on it. And then he's got his regular hand here with the fingers. And this one has fingers too, but it's just the two. And then here, he's got that wing arm there. So it just shows you, let me attach this back on. It just shows you that you're able to swap these things out. Now, I don't know how good they would look if you, obviously you could put both arms on here and it'll look better, but I just want to show you guys that that could be done. I think the mechs are just in general really cool. Now, another point I wanted to say in this video that I didn't say in some of the other review mechs that I did, but wanted to just in general. As I kind of evaluate the whole Ninjago line, what I realize is a couple things. First, I'm going to say, the mechs in particular seem to cater to that whole Power Rangers slash maybe Gundam type of vibe, because they're really big, heavy into that. And I almost feel that as a whole, Ninjago really is this theme that keeps giving, in the sense that they came up with this concept and it really has grown from the way it was in the very beginning, but it has transcended to incorporate so many different things that could be inspired from other media or whatever the case is. So for example, when I was watching the very first season of the very first show, they started going with the whole snake theme and the Snake Man, and it actually made me think of He-Man. And I don't know if that was like intended purpose or not, but that's what it made me think of with He-Man and the Snake Man. Then it's like you got all these mechs, and the mechs kind of remind you, like I said, of Power Rangers, especially going hand in hand with how you've got these ninjas that are color coordinated, very similar to Power Rangers, especially with Lloyd being the Green Ninja and the Chosen Ninja, who originally is kind of like a bad guy, even though he starts out as a kid, he's a bad guy, and then later on becomes the main, hero protagonist of the team. Like he's the best of the ninjas. So that's interesting in itself. Dragons, which, in itself is also just a great theme that they're able to put in Lego form, and having so many of them, these buildable dragons, that you literally have an army that you could form. And I mentioned that in a previous video, how those very much can be used for castle sets as well, if you wanted to. In addition to that, the cities, they have, I think there's 3 city sets, and the city sets, the Ninjago cities, they have different names. Some of them is like, I don't know, Ninjago City, Ninjago Market, or something like that. And they're so huge, and they've got so much crammed into them, like a cyberpunk world, that is very interesting. And it's like you're literally able to create this whole world, and it's very themed in this kind of, like I said, cyberpunk vibe. So it's like you have so many different like themes that are mashed into one for Ninjago, that, and with the show constantly going on with different ones, because the series has gone on for, I think, well more than 10 seasons in total, that it creates this life of its own, where it's probably outside of licensed sets, it probably is their greatest Lego themed sets above anything else, because it's constantly evolving, it's constantly adding new things, and it's catering to several genres all at one time. So even if you're not specifically a fan of Ninjago specifically, it caters to so many other things that you could use it for. If you just like mechs, if you like dragons, you like ninjas, you like cyberpunk, it can cater to all that stuff. So I definitely would say that, with that being said, it's definitely this theme that keeps giving. I just want to point that out. Sorry to add that into this review, but I just decided to throw it in there, as I didn't mention it in the other sets that I was reviewing. And one last thing too, you have baby Ryu inside this set, and he's like any other form of the dragons, which is cool, but it just lets you know that this is a set based on the earlier time frame where Ryu is, well, it's weird because I don't remember seeing this mech, unless I just happen to not pay attention to episodes. I don't remember seeing this mech or that warrior when Ryu was small. So I'm not really 100% sure. But anyway, as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video.